fifth one, umami. The basic substance of this umami is components like glutamate, inosinate, guanylate, and aspartate. So what is the common source of natural source of this kind of umami taste? So tomato, cheese, yogurt, meat, these are couple of common source, natural source where we get this umami flavor. And apart from that, MSG is another form of umami taste provider, which is commercially sold into the market. So as you see in this chart, each and every taste parameter have a unique function for our body. Same way, umami, it is also very important. It ensures adequate intake of protein for the proper growth and maintenance of our body. So research has shown, if you see in these graphics, in our tongue, for each taste, there is a receptor or receiving area. So example, for saltiness, in the tip of the tongue, there are receptors. So same way, for umami, if you see, research has shown that glutamate receptors are uniformly spread across the tongue. Perhaps that is the key reason when we eat any food which is rich in umami flavor, we can feel or realize that taste across the tongue uniformly. So this was a small research done in Japan for an infant of 4-month-old infant. This infant was never been exposed to any other taste apart from mother breast milk or infant formula. When it was given a different taste flavor, you can see the expression, facial expression. So in the bottom, you can see when it was given a soup, a vegetable soup, which was rich in umami, the pleasurable expression of that kid. So that shows umami reception take place even in the early childhood at the infant stage also. So what is the mechanism of umami taste? So if you see in these graphics, just to understand very easily how the bricks form the building block of a home, same way this free amino acid, glutamic acid, this comes together inside our body, form the protein chain, and these protein chains contribute for the growth and development of our muscle or the human health. So in this slide, you can see different amino acid contributes for the different taste flavor. So here for umami, you can see aspartate and glutamate, these are the amino acid which contribute to the umami taste. So to further elaborate these graphics, you can see the classification of the amino acid and the nucleotides which contribute to the umami taste. So amino acid, I have a couple of times said, like glutamate, aspartate. Nucleotides like inosinate and guanylate, these are the key contributors for the umami taste. So here you can see, like general public, there is a lot of misconception that it's some foreign particle or chemical, something like that. But naturally, this glutamic acid or the sources of umami are abundantly present in natural sources. Example, glutamate present in tomato, onion, broccoli. Aspartate is present in peanuts and kidney beans. And inosinate is present in various non-vegetarian sources like chicken, fish, beef. So these are a couple of sources of umami flavor. So again, to summarize, all creatures is making glutamate in their body. It may all living organism basically. So in these graphics, you can see some of the common Indian dietary sources which are rich in glutamic acid. These are some forms of dals or pulses where glutamic acid is readily available. And this slide is very important because lot of people are not aware that even mother breast milk also have a glutamic acid. There are around 20 types of amino acids are there in mother breast milk. In that, glutamate is one of the most important amino acid, which have composition almost 43%, and for each 100 ml of mother breast milk, the composition is around 27 milligram. And if we compare mother breast milk with cow milk, almost 19 times higher glutamic acid present in mother breast milk. So there is a misconception that glutamic acid is not good for kids, but you can see scientifically even mother breast milk also have a rich source of glutamic acid. So finally, what are the key characteristics of umami taste? The first one, it gives a long-lasting taste. It gives mouthfulness in our tongue. It gives a coating sensation across our tongue. It helps to maintain balanced taste and also do a salivation when we eat any food which is rich in umami. And it is complex in nature. Now, one important point is lot of people have a curiosity how as a commercial manufacturer of MSG, how we produce MSG. So for the production of MSG, we need glucose or the complex sugar. So what are the raw material we use for this commercial production? The raw material we use is sugarcane or tapioca starch or corn starch. So these are the main source of complex sugar. Those complex sugar has been consumed by fermentative microbes, and in the process of fermentation, we get glutamic acid, which will be sour in nature. So fermentation, as you all know, it's a basic process from milk curd produced, similar concept of fermentation. So in this fermentation process, the glutamic acid what we get, it will be mixed with some impurities and it will be sour in nature. So next process what we do the purification and neutralization with food grade sodium hydroxide. As a result, the sodium bind with glutamic acid, it gives monosodium glutamate, and which we sell under the famous brand name of Ajinomoto. Now the question is, okay, what is umami? I explained. What are the sources? I explained. It is readily available in nature. Commercially, we produce from vegetarian sources like sugarcane or tapioca. The production process also very as simple as fermentation process, which is quite natural. But still, why there is so much fuss about MSG? Why there is so much controversy about MSG? So if you go backward, in 1968, specifically, the first controversy started in the name of Chinese restaurant syndrome. And how it happened, there was a doctor called Robert Hoffman Co. He has visited some Chinese restaurant in USA and he consumed some Chinese dish. After the consumption of the dish, he developed some numbness in the shoulder and in the limbs and palpitation. And he assumed that because Chinese food have a MSG, so due to the presence of MSG, he got this kind of reaction. Unfortunately, the fact is that kind of Chinese dish had a soya sauce or cooking oil, salt and MSG, but without in-depth analysis or a conclusive evidence, the entire blame passed on to the MSG. So that was the origin of all the controversies. However, extended research has never concluded with evidence that MSG can cause this kind of Chinese restaurant syndrome. The second root cause of that kind of controversy, this research has been published by Dr. Olney in 1970. What is the background of this research? He has injected a very high dose of glutamic acid, monosodium glutamate acid into the skin of a mice, and as a result, that mice has developed neurological disorders and some other complications. So what was concluded out of that research, saying that because of the consumption of glutamic acid, neurological disorder may occur. Now, if we read between the line of that output of that research, we can clearly see the procedure itself was faulty because it was injected in a high doses under the skin. However, naturally, whether from the natural source or through the commercially produced MSG, whatever a human being consumes, it will be consumed orally or through regular diet. It has never been injected, and the quantity of glutamic acid he injected, it was so high that it was equivalent to the weight of a horse. So the overall scientific procedure of conducting that research itself was faulty. So it cannot be claimed or ever proved with scientific evidence that MSG have a impact on neurological cells. Now coming to the safety part. So we say it's safe. As an organization, we may say it's safe, but if you see scientifically, major global regulatory bodies in India, like Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, FSSAI, US FDA, JACFA, the Joint Expert Committee on Food Additives, which is a joint organization of WHO and FAO. Like that, major global regulatory bodies has done conclusive research, and they consider generally recognized as safe this component MSG, and there is no acceptable daily intake level have ever been prescribed by any global regulatory bodies across the globe. So the perception of consumption of MSG, there is lot of rumors are there, but the fact is nobody prescribed any limitation for consumption of MSG. Now coming to the very, very important point from Indian context. So what is the benefit of MSG? Is there really some benefit MSG can help us to obtain? So answer is this slide. So if you see these graphics, you can see as per the WHO recommendation or the standard, the per day consumption of salt has been recommended is below 5 grams, which is almost a 1 teaspoon. But unfortunately, in India, on an average, a healthy individual consumes around 2 teaspoons of salt, which is equivalent to 11 grams. So we consume twice the recommended level of salt. So these can be very fatal for the human health. As a learned panel member, you are aware that if you take high amount of salt, it can contribute to the high blood pressure. And again, the statistics shows a very serious issue. Around 23% of the young adults who are just 18 plus are suffering in India because of high blood pressure. And high blood pressure can cause massive issues like stroke, heart failure, heart attack, kidney diseases. And unfortunately, across the country or across the globe, yearly more than 1 million people die due to this issue, due to high consumption.
8 बजे मैं ओटी टेबल पे थी, 8:30 को एनेस्थीसिया लेने से लेकर बच्चा बाहर, और मेरा ना पति था ना कोई था, सिर्फ मैं थी, मैंने कंसेंट दी थी और she was my gynecologist.
The organizer can mute.
हम सभी लोगों ने मिलके निकाल दिया, पति को फोन किया, मैं तो ट्रैफिक में हूँ. ननद को फोन किया.
Dr. Aruna, can you mute?
I can't take this kind of, क्योंकि अगर बच्चा नर्सरी में जाएगा तो
Sujata ma'am, as an organizer you can
yeah, trying. Dr. Aruna,
Dr. Aruna, उसको वैक्यूम से निकाला था. अच्छा, ठीक है, उतना
Dr. Aruna,
Dr. Aruna, पुश कर दो, नहीं तो हम आपके बच्चे पे वैक्यूम लगा देंगे. अब उस वक्त गाड़ में जाए जिसको लगेगा, जो है ना इतना थक गया था, वैक्यूम लगा दिया. उसके बाद मेरा जैसे गिल्ट आपने कहा ना, पेरेंट को पूरी जिंदगी गिल्ट रहेगा किसी ना किसी चीज का। उसको मैं कहूँ जब पढ़ाने लगी उसको, जब बड़ी हुई वो, तो उसको मैंने कहा देख तेरे पास 2 टॉफी है, मैंने तेरे को 2 टॉफी और दे दी, कितनी हो गई तेरे पास? एंड शी वुड बी लुकिंग एट मी, मैंने कहा भगवान वैक्यूम से इसका दिमाग
डॉक्टर अरुणा,
तो आपको वो लगता रहता है कि उसका वैक्यूम से।
Can you just call in
उसी की जान को, तब 8 साढ़े 8 साल की थी जब दूसरा हुआ। मैंने कहा मैं उसका सोच रही हूँ कि वो डफर बन गई है, इसका MSL के साथ अगर निकला और मैं नॉर्मल डिलीवरी की ट्राई करती रही और इसने भी 2 और 2 4 नहीं बोला तो मेरे तो दोनों ही बच्चे।
And this is live on YouTube.
Can you just mute it, ma'am?
Yeah, that's not happening.
Guilt of everything.
Can call her and update.
Now you did not deliver normally, you will be having
Just call her.
If you had normal
She's not
delivery,
even
in
listening.
spite of MSL and everything, और बेबी 1 महीने नर्सरी में चला था,
Just call her over phone and update her.
right decision at right time. So
Luckily she is talking in Hindi. We don't know Hindi, so that is a no effect on us.
Yeah, but it's on YouTube.
तो शायद स्ट्रेस नहीं होता, तो शायद
Please call her.
बाद अगर MSL आता तो फिर ये होता कि एपिड्यूरल लिया
Could you call her and ask her to?
So you cannot justify anything.
Not picking up the call.
जिसने जैसे आना वैसे आना।
Ma'am, you can actually disconnect.
Yeah,